Hello, and welcome to my first YouTube video. My name's Selena. I've wanted to make this YouTube video for a really long time. It's kind of a touchy and more sensitive subject, but I think talking about it will help myself and maybe educate or encourage others to either seek help if they think they're going through the same thing, or maybe just watch this video for fun. I personally, going through this, was aware that it was happening. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but it was a hard time. 3 terms you'll hear throughout this video is anorexia nervosa, which is persistent behaviors that interfere with maintaining an adequate weight for health, a powerful fear of gaining weight or becoming fat, disturbance in a person's appearance, and the person doesn't really understand the seriousness of their condition. You'll also hear orthorexia, which is an informal definition and it's not diagnosable. That's eating foods that are only considered to be healthy, or they get more pleasure in eating things that they should be eating rather than just enjoying whatever they're eating. It's an obsessive focus on food and nothing else. They kind of measure their goals by the scale, and how successful they are by that. And then binge eating, and that is the consumption of a usually large amount of food during a relatively short period of time and feeling out of control over what and how much is eaten and when to stop. This is my story and how I am currently, or just finishing my journey through it. It started at the end of high school, and eating disorders are usually shown in teenagers and like young adults. And it started at the end of high school for me, because growing up I didn't really care. My parents would make dinner, I would eat it. I didn't have a choice. They didn't give me options what I wanted to eat, and I wasn't really picky either. I wasn't an overly heavy kid, but I did have weight on me at the end of elementary school. And then high school came, grade 9, and puberty hit, and I got a little taller, and I started maturing. My body started developing, female attributes, and I kind of slimmed out there and was at a natural body weight for my height, and I had natural curves. I wasn't thin, but I was not heavy either. Grade 9 and 10 were great years. I had so much fun. I hung out with friends. I played sports. Food wasn't an issue with me then. I went to prom in grade 11, and I remember seeing pictures afterwards, and I just didn't like the way I looked. I was not overweight at that point, but in my mind I was, and I was seeing myself way bigger than I actually was. That's kind of where it started. I thought I was fat. I convinced myself that I was, and I wanted to look different for my own prom. August of 2016, I joined a gym, so before my grade 12 year. And I started making my own dinner separate from my parents, still eating the same amount, just maybe making it a little healthier, and going to the gym every day after dinner, and just trying to get more in shape, which is completely fine doing it the right way. I had lost a little bit of weight from the beginning of grade 12 to January of grade 12, so the beginning of second semester. And I remember posting a picture, and I remember getting so many comments on it. I remember getting so many likes on it. I remember everybody being like, oh my gosh, you look great. And it was kind of reassuring that I was doing the right thing. It made me feel accomplished. And I continued throughout the year, and I had lost a couple pounds by my prom, and I liked the pictures way better than my grade 11 prom. I think they were great. I think I look healthy in them, and I loved the prom. It was great. The pictures were great. The summers between high school years, I was a little bit body conscious. You know, everybody is. They all have their insecurities. And then my grade 12 summer, after I graduated, I was actually comfortable being in a bikini. I remember going to the beach all the time, and I was okay to just, lay out there and not care what anybody thought of me or what anybody was. I didn't really care if anybody was judging me or if they looked at me. I was pretty comfortable in my own skin. And then August of 2017, I can vividly remember tanning in my backyard, coming in to make lunch. I made hot dogs with no bun. I remember eating a couple, and then I felt bad that I ate it and guilty, and I wanted to, I wasn't eating healthy. I went to the bathroom and made myself throw it back up. I remember texting a close friend of mine and telling her what I had just done. And she sent me a text, a heartfelt text saying that I shouldn't be doing that, like I'm fine just the way I am, like I'm not, like there's no need to be doing that. And it was kind of brushed off then. I didn't really think about it after that. I kind of ignored it, pretended it never happened. That following September, I went away to college. This is where my relationship with food went negative. I was so scared of gaining the freshman 15, so I downloaded the MyFitnessPal app, and I started counting my calories and made sure that I did not overeat, made sure I only ate healthy foods, and I would watch YouTube videos late at night on how to lose weight fast. They all had two things in common, which was work out and restrict calories. So I set my FitnessPal app to only allow me 1,200 calories a day. I was living in residence at the time, so it was a lot easier for me to only buy the foods that I wanted to eat, which were healthy foods, which would have been, vegetables, fruit, organic stuff, whole grains, no chips, snacks, candy, no freezer food, no nothing. Living on residence on the campus was easier to go to the gym whenever I pleased. I restricted my calories back pretty far and was constantly working out and making myself sick every so often that you could imagine I had lost a little bit of weight. I was happy about it because I didn't gain that freshman 15, and it's kind of a standard or inevitable that you will gain a little bit of weight while away at school, especially if you're not used to making your own meals or cooking. It's so easy to just get fast food or whatever's on campus, and if you're not self-conscious about counting calories and how you look 24/7 and focusing on food, then it's not a problem for you. I finished first year, and that following summer in July of 2018, I had my first appointment with my therapist. The appointment was originally made for anxiety I was dealing with, which is a symptom of anorexia and all the terms I had said earlier. That summer, I had noticed a lot more symptoms of my issue with food. Symptoms like being irritated all the time or very easily, being cold constantly. I would wear sweaters to cover my body Even though it was the middle of summer, if I was hungry, I would pretend I wasn't. I would, focus on something else to do to keep my mind off of it. Fast forward to September of 2018. I went off for my second year of college, and I moved into a house with 5 other girls I had met in residence. Once again, I was grocery shopping for myself and going to the gym whenever I pleased. And because I had been training and eating the same way as first year throughout the summer, I had noticed a plateau in my weight loss, and I didn't like that. And I would be changing or going to shower, and I would look at myself in the mirror and just constantly think that I was fat and convince myself that I was too heavy, too big, I was disgusted in myself personally. So I restricted my calories even more to 800 a day. I would go to the gym 6 out of the 7 days a week, and the only reason why I wouldn't go the 7th day is because my body just didn't have the actual energy to bring me there. And there's pictures from September, October, Halloween, and the end of November, and there is not a lot of difference, but when you put them side by side, there's quite a bit of difference for it only being 2 months. In mid-November, I drove home for one of my therapy appointments. That's when I told her I had an issue with food, and she asked me what I meant by that. And I knew I had a bad relationship with food. I knew that counting calories wasn't right. I knew that 800 a day wasn't right. I knew that me feeling tired all the time, me being cold all the time, me being irritated very easily was all part of it. And I told her that, and she told me that it sounded more like an eating disorder, and it was more along anorexia, the more informal one, orthorexia. I was very focused on not gaining weight or becoming fat. I was very food focused. All I could think about in class was what I was going to have for my next meal, even though it was going to be small. I didn't want to put a label on it, because when you put a label on it, it's more of a reality. I didn't want to have that label on me. My biggest fear was that I would eat something bad and I would wake up 100 pounds heavier the next morning. I would be terrified to eat fries. I would be terrified to have a piece of chocolate, because I would be so scared that I would wake up 1,000,000 pounds heavier, even though I was already thin, and I wanted to be thinner. I thought that you had to see my rib cage for me to be thin enough. I thought I had to have abs to be thin enough. I wanted to help myself, I really did, but it was hard. I only told my parents and a few close friends, not even right away. It was a couple days, maybe a week for some friends. But the thought of telling people and them just saying, well, just eat, was annoying, actually. But I was terrified that they were just gonna shove food down my throat, and I didn't want that. That was a big fear. I was embarrassed to tell people. I'm not sure why. I didn't want people to think I was doing it for attention. I didn't want people to think of me differently. I wanted people to still know me as me, instead of Selena, that girl with an eating disorder. So I kind of brushed that off. After that, I focused on other things for the rest of my second year. I focused on roommates, being with friends, and just exams, and just getting through the rest of school. So I moved home in June of 2019 when I was done my second year. And moving home, I thought I would gain all the weight back that I had just worked so hard to get off. I had avoided dairy products and whole milk products for the past couple years, but I thought moving home, why not try completely dairy-free? That way I have a dietary restriction. I won't be able to eat the things that are tempting me in my home. I won't be able to go into the cupboards and pick what I want. I will be able to cook my own food to make it easier for my parents so they didn't have to try and find something that didn't have dairy in it. And it worked. Canada Day came shortly after me moving home, and I was at one of my lowest weights that time. I don't look healthy for myself. It's not what my body wants me to be at. I was around 104, 105 pounds there. And when you are starving your body will hold on to anything you consume and fluctuate like crazy. And a common ground for me was around 107, 110. It would fluctuate, it depends really, quite often. But that was kind of a safe place that I convinced myself was healthy that I wanted to stay at. I wanted to be under 110. I didn't want to go over because if I went over, I thought I was overweight. I started my full-time job in June, the same time I decided to go completely dairy-free, and it was easier to not snack around the house. I start at 8, I end at 5, and I get an hour lunch break. So I bring a small lunch and didn't eat breakfast before and would just eat dinner when I got home, something that I usually made. Around Thanksgiving, a week before or so, I had my first binge in a while. I wasn't dairy-free anymore. I had only been eating around 600 calories a day since starting my job, and then I came home from work one day and no one was home, so I indulged in whatever I wanted. I went in the fridge, I went in the cupboards, I was eating whatever I wanted, whatever I could, and I was doing it while my parents were away so they wouldn't judge me for it, and they wouldn't see me eat, so it technically didn't count, I guess I was thinking. And then after I was done that binge, I would feel extremely guilty and go straight to the gym. I felt that if I didn't go to the gym, then I wasn't allowed anything extra over my calories. While counting calories, I would make sure that I had at least worked off half of it. I would feel guilty and I would hate myself after a binge because I had probably just consumed around 4,000 calories in one sitting. I had no control over my hunger feeling. I couldn't stop if I was full. I didn't know if I was full. I would just eat whatever I wanted, whatever I felt like, because I had restricted myself for 2 whole years of just eating healthy considered foods. That week of Thanksgiving, I completely went off the track. I ate whatever I want. I barely went to the gym that week. I did whatever I want, and I ended up weighing myself, and I think I weighed in at 115 pounds, which is completely normal, completely healthy weight. And the fact that I wasn't under 110 pounds killed me. I thought I was fat again. I thought I was ugly. I thought my boyfriend wouldn't like me anymore. I had to look good. I wasn't skinny enough. So after that episode of binging, I restricted my calories to 400 a day. And doing that, I had hit my lowest weight at Halloween at 102 pounds. No one really noticed me losing all this weight or gaining it back because I would be always in a baggy hoodie and leggings, regardless of the weather. I was always cold, so it always felt like a right outfit for me. Only I saw myself whenever I was changing, so nobody really could have noticed. There's a picture of me from Halloween. You can kind of tell in my arms and legs, but once again, I'm wearing quite a big tutu that kind of covers my waist and stomach. After Halloween, I tried to control the binging. I didn't want that to ever happen again after Thanksgiving. I wanted to stay as small as I could. I wanted to be able to fit into extra smalls for the rest of my life, basically, at that point. Controlling the binging then was becoming a little harder leading up to Christmas. I have a big sweet tooth, and I was convincing myself that it was okay because Christmas is only once a year. So I would convince myself and just enjoy and indulge and overeat in everything that was, limited time that only came around Christmas time. My mom makes an awesome Christmas dinner, and I would just eat and eat and eat. And for the past 3 months, I've had a couple binge episodes because I feel like it's my body trying to make up for the past years of me not fueling my body right. I'm trying to get more control over it. I know that because I eat so little during the week, the weekends and other days that I eat a lot, it's like trying to get me back up to my normal weight that my body wants me to be at and be comfortable in. And I understand that if I eat a normal amount of calories, then my body will level out and I won't have that never-ending hunger feeling. It was tough because going through this, I would go out to eat with loved ones and friends and others, and I would constantly just look for the lowest calorie meal to order, not what I wanted to try, and I missed out on a bunch of opportunities to try new things or try different things and just go out with people and have fun. And it kind of destroyed a little bit of my social life in some aspects. I wish I didn't let it do that. So I'm trying to take steps in making myself better. I now make breakfast in the morning to get, my body started, whereas I used to not make breakfast at all. I know I'm not fully recovered yet, but I can tell that I'm almost close to recovery, and it'll be really nice when I get there. I have a great support system around me, even though I get irritated the moment that they decide to talk about it. I appreciate everybody that cares about me and wants me to get better, that knows. But now everybody knows. So I didn't make this video to get people to feel sorry for me or just because I wanted to. I thought that telling a full story would make me realize something. I'm not sure what, but I think one of the toughest things going through this was that I am completely aware of the entire situation. I know what this can lead to. I know what my body wants me to be at, what natural weight it should be at, what I should be doing to take better care of my body, what I can do to help myself. But the constant fear of gaining weight will always be branded, stitched, just embedded in the back of my head. If you know someone that had similar symptoms or acts the same way, or you just have a suspicion, they're gonna get irritated with you. They're gonna not want to talk at all, but it'll help them out a lot. That was my journey, my story of what I'm going through, and I hope you enjoyed watching it, whether you got anything from it, maybe educated yourself a little. If you're more interested, read up on it. But that's all I have, and I wish I had a happier ending for it, but I don't right now. But I will. So, thank you for watching.